Cold wind blew through the broken windows of the old train station. Dust floated in the air. Lights above flickered weakly, casting long shadows on the cracked floor. The place smelled of rust, old oil, and tired people. Mira stood near the ticket counter, holding her small son Nilo in one arm and a few coins in her hand. Nilo's head rested on her shoulder. His face was pale, his body warm with fever. His cough had grown worse over the past 2 days. She had no choice now. She needed to get to the city hospital. Myra stepped forward. The man behind the dirty glass didn't even look at her. Next, I need 2 tickets. To Northgate, she said quietly. That's 10 credits. Man replied. Mira opened her hand. The coins inside barely added up to 6. Her heart sank. She looked down at Nilo, who stirred weakly and whimpered. I only have this much, she said. Please. It's for my son. The man behind the glass finally looked at her. His face was cold, bored. No credit, no ride. Step aside. Mira's hands trembled. She didn't know what to do. Her eyes stung, but she blinked quickly. She couldn't cry. Not here. A soft voice came from behind her. Excuse me. She turned. A tall man stood there. He wore a long dark coat, and his face was mostly hidden beneath a hood. Only his chin and part of his cheek were visible, and there was something strange, something smooth and almost shiny about his skin. But she couldn't be sure in the dim light. I'm sorry, Mira whispered, stepping aside. I can't pay. The man didn't reply at first. Instead, he looked down at the child in her arms. His eyes, though mostly hidden, seemed to focus deeply, not just on Nilo's face, but on the way Mira held him. Gently, protectively. Then, without a word, the man reached into his coat and pulled out a small chip. He placed it on the counter. 2 for Northgate, he said calmly. The ticket clerk raised an eyebrow but scanned the chip. The machine beeped, and 2 paper slips slid out. The man handed them to Mira. Take your son. Go. Mira stood frozen. I can't accept this, she said. You don't know me. You don't need to know someone to help them. The man replied softly. Before she could say more, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the thin crowd of passengers. Mira wanted to thank him properly, to ask his name. But he was gone. She looked down at the tickets in her hand. Her fingers tightened around them. Then she looked at Nilo. His eyes were closed, his breath shallow. She hurried to the train platform. The train to Northgate stood waiting, its engine humming. The door opened with a hiss, and Mira stepped inside, finding an empty seat near the window. As she sat, rocking Nilo gently, her mind was full of questions. Who was that man? Why did he help her? What was that strange light that had reflected off his hand when he reached for the chip? She looked out the window, scanning the station, hoping to catch one last glimpse of the stranger. But he was nowhere to be seen. The train doors closed. With a deep rumble, the train began to move. Mira leaned back. She didn't know what waited at the hospital or how she would pay the bills, but for now, she was on her way. Her son had a chance. She whispered to herself, "Thank you, whoever you are." Outside the train, hidden behind a rusted pillar, the man in the dark coat stood silently. A small blue light blinked beneath the skin on his wrist, just under the glove. He spoke into the quiet air. First contact successful. Subject shows compassion under stress, proceeding with observation. Then, he turned and walked into the night. The train moved slowly through the dark outskirts of the city. The windows were foggy from the cold outside and the warmth inside. The lights above flickered now and then, casting short shadows that danced along the floor. Mira sat quietly, holding Nilo close. He was still burning with fever. His breathing was uneven, and his lips looked dry. She touched his forehead with her palm. It was too hot. Her heart beat faster. Other passengers sat silently. Some stared at their shoes. Some scrolled through old, scratched-up devices. No one noticed the tired mother with the sick child. The train entered a tunnel. The soft light outside turned into darkness, and the only sound was the hum of the engine and the clicking of wheels on steel tracks. Suddenly, the train gave a sharp jolt. The lights went out. Passengers gasped. A few cried out. The train stopped. Moving. Total silence followed. Then, dim red lights came on. The emergency lights. People began to whisper. What happened? Is it a power cut? Not again. Mira tightened her grip on Milo. He shivered in her arms. A soft cough escaped his throat, then another longer, deeper. His body jerked. His eyes opened halfway, and he groaned. Nalo. Stay with me, Myra whispered, tears now in her voice. We're almost there. But he didn't answer. His little body shook harder, his breath shallow. A man stood up across the aisle. He looked around, confused. A woman near the back pressed the emergency button. Nothing happened. Mira began to panic. She looked down at her son. His body was limp. Now, please, someone, help. She cried. No one moved. Then a voice came from the end of the train car. Calm, deep. Let me see the child. Mira turned. The same stranger from the station was walking slowly toward her. His dark coat brushed the sides of the seats. Even in the red light, Mira saw something in his eyes, something unnatural. A soft glow. Not like a reflection, but like light coming from inside. You again. Mira whispered. He knelt beside her seat and looked at Nilo. He placed a hand gently on the child's forehead. He's burning up. His body is trying to fight something it cannot beat on its own. You're not a doctor, said a voice. Nearby, the stranger didn't look up. No, he said quietly. I'm something else. From under his glove, he pulled out a small metal disc. It was smooth and silver, no bigger than a coin. He placed it gently on Nilo's chest. A soft blue light glowed from the disc. Mira watched in silence. The light wasn't bright, but it pulsed like a heartbeat. She felt warmth in the air. Then, slowly, Nilo stopped shaking. His breathing eased. His face relaxed. Color returned to his cheeks. Mira gasped. How? The stranger took the disc off and hid it quickly. He looked around. The other passengers were still confused, their eyes half-focused. Somehow they hadn't seen clearly. What just happened? He'll sleep now, the stranger said. He'll be okay for now. Mira stared at him. Who are you? He stood up. I'm called Rel. That's not a name from here. No, he replied simply. Myra glanced at Nilo, who now slept peacefully. Then she looked at Rel. Again, why did you help me? Rel paused. Because your kindness at the station, it wasn't weakness. You asked for help, not for yourself, but for someone else. That matters more than you think. Before Mira could ask more, the lights above blinked and returned. The train began moving again. People sighed with relief. Some clapped lightly. Mira looked around. The others still seemed unaware of what had just happened. She turned to speak to Rel again, but he had already moved back to the end of the car, sitting alone. His face hidden once more beneath his hood. Mira looked at her son and held him close. Her mind was full of questions, but one thing was clear. The man who had helped her was not just a man. The train finally reached Northgate Station just after midnight. The air outside was colder now. Streetlights buzzed weakly. Only a few people got off the train. Most hurried away, wrapping their coats tighter. Mira stepped off slowly, holding Nilo close. He was sleeping quietly, his fever gone. His breathing was calm now, and his face looked better. She looked around for Rel. He was nowhere to be seen. Was he even real? Or had she imagined it all? But then she remembered the blue light, the strange disc, and Nilo's quick recovery. It wasn't a dream. Mira walked through the empty station. Her mind was full of thoughts. Who was Rel? What was that device he used? How did he heal her son in seconds? As she reached the exit, a voice stopped her. You shouldn't walk alone. At this hour, it was Rel. He stood in the shadows, arms crossed, his coat moving slightly in the wind. Mira turned. "You followed me? I watched from a distance," he said. "There are things out here you don't see, but I do." Mira looked down at Nilo. "Why are you helping us?" Rel stepped closer. "Because your world is changing, and most of your people don't know it." Mira's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" Rel looked up at the night sky. "My people come from far away. We've watched humans for a long time. Some of us believe you are important. Others believe you are weak, emotional, not ready." "And what do you believe?" Mira asked. "I believe that moments like this, when a mother risks everything for her child, are more powerful than anything we can build. That's why I broke my orders." Mira blinked. "Orders? I'm not supposed to interfere. I was sent only to observe." Rel paused. "But tonight when you said, 'I'm sorry, I can't pay,' you didn't beg, you didn't lie. You spoke honestly, even though you were scared. That told me more about your kind than 1,000 reports." Mira didn't know what to say. She just looked at him, really looked now. His skin, under the streetlight, had a soft metallic shine. His eyes, glowing faintly, were not normal. And when he spoke, his voice had no tremble. "No fear. You're not human," she whispered. Rel nodded. "No, but I've learned more from you in one night than in years of silent watching." He reached into his coat and pulled out a small device, round, silver, with a glowing blue center. He held it in his palm. "This is not magic," he said. "It's healing tech. We call it a core patch. It reads pain, balances the body, and restores damaged cells." Mira stepped back slightly. "It fixed my son? For now. His fever was from an infection. The patch helped, but he still needs medicine, real earth medicine. Take him to the hospital as soon as you can." "I will," Mira said quickly. "Thank you." Rel closed his hand around the patch and returned it to his coat. "Be careful, Mira," he said. "Not all watchers are like me. Some follow orders strictly. They don't help, they erase." Mira's eyes widened. "Erase?" Rel didn't answer. He simply looked toward the dark alley beside the station, then back at her. "Go, get Nilo the help he needs." Mira took a step, then stopped. "Will I see you again?" Rel paused. "Maybe. If things go wrong, I'll find you first." Then he turned and disappeared into the shadows. Mira stood still for a moment, holding her child close. She could feel his small heart beating gently against her chest. Something strange was happening. Something big. But tonight, all that mattered was that her son was still alive. She began walking toward the hospital. Her legs were tired, but her spirit was stronger than ever. Behind her, far up on a rooftop, a pair of glowing red eyes watched her from the dark. Something else had arrived in the city. Something that didn't believe in kindness. Unit 94 raised its arm slowly. A soft hum filled the air. Blue sparks ran along its metallic fingers. Its glowing red eyes locked onto Rel without blinking. Mira stood beside Rel, heart pounding in her chest. She didn't understand much about alien machines or why this one had come, but she understood danger. And she knew Rel had risked his life to save her child. She would not leave him now. Rel whispered, "Stay behind me. If it targets you, I can't shield both." "I'm not leaving," Mira replied, her voice steady. The enforcer stepped closer. Each movement was smooth and silent. It spoke again, its voice echoing through the air. "Watcher Rel, your connection to the human subject has violated the code. This will be your final correction." Rel's hands opened. Thin metal lines appeared along his palms. A soft green light blinked under his sleeves. Then Unit 94 attacked. Beam of white light shot from its arm toward Rel. Mira gasped, but Rel moved quickly, grabbing Mira and pulling her behind a parked delivery truck. The light sliced through the edge of the truck like paper, leaving a glowing scar. We can't fight that. Mira whispered. I can slow it, Rel said, but only for a short time. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small cube. Pressing a button on its side, he threw it at the ground between them and the machine. The cube burst into a shield of blue light, a glowing wall that hummed like thunder. Unit 94 stopped. Analyzing. Illegal tech. Unauthorized shield field. Strength. Limited. It began charging another blast. Rel turned to Myra. That shield won't hold for long. We need to move. But where? Mira asked. There's a service tunnel under this street. I scanned it earlier. Follow me. They ran down the side of the street. The shield cracked behind them as the enforcer fired again. The ground shook. Sparks flew. People screamed, but most still didn't see the real shape of Unit 94. To them, it was like a shadow, strange, but unexplainable. Rel reached a metal door beside a dumpster. He placed his hand on the lock. His fingers glowed green. The door opened. Inside, they stepped into darkness. The air smelled of dust and oil. Pipes ran along the walls, and small lights blinked overhead. Rel closed the door behind them and sealed it. Mira leaned against the wall, breathing hard. How did it find you? I broke too many rules, Rel said. They were watching. The moment I used the healing patch on your son, the core was alerted. What happens if it catches you? Rel looked down. I disappear. All records of me are deleted. My memories are erased. My mission ends. That's not fair, Mira said. To them, fairness isn't important. Only order. They moved deeper into the tunnel. The sound of the city above faded. Rel's hand lit the path with a small light from his wrist. Mira looked at him. You said some of your kind believe humans are weak. Do you still believe we're worth protecting? Rel stopped. He looked at her with eyes that no longer seemed cold. I believe that kindness is strength. You showed it when you had nothing. That matters more than weapons or science. Mira didn't answer, but her eyes said everything. They turned a corner and found an old maintenance room. Rel scanned the area. We'll hide here for now. As they rested, Mira asked, will it give up? No, Rel replied. Unit 94 does not stop. It tracks by energy signature, scent, even memory patterns. It will search the city until it finds us. Then we have to stop it. Rel looked surprised. You want to fight? Mira nodded. If we run forever, it will keep coming. Maybe not just for you, maybe for others like you, maybe for my son. I won't wait for that. Rel slowly smiled. Then we'll need a plan. Far above, on the surface, Unit 94 walked through the city streets. Its eyes scanned every face, every voice, every trace of heat in the air. It had locked onto Rel's signal again. It turned east toward the tunnel and began to move. Deep inside the quiet maintenance tunnel, Mira and Rel sat beside a small pile of old crates. The hum of the city above felt distant and faint. Nilo's slow, steady breathing came from a small bag Mira carried, where he slept peacefully after. The hospital's care. Mira watched Rel as he carefully examined the silver device he had used to heal her son, the core patch. It glowed softly, pulsing like a tiny star in his palm. Your people use this kind of technology often? Mira asked, curiosity mixing with awe. Rel shook his head. No, it's rare. The core's tools are powerful but controlled. They don't allow watchers to share it with humans. Then why did you give it to Nilo? Rel's glowing eyes softened. Because sometimes the rules do not see the value in a single life. Mira looked at him in surprise. You mean my son's life? Yes, Rel said. The core only values logic, efficiency. The strong survive, the weak fall away. But your kind, you show something different. You fight for the weak. You protect each other even when it's dangerous. Mira's voice was quiet. Sometimes it's the only thing that keeps us going. Rel nodded slowly. I learned this tonight. Watching you, I saw a mother's courage. I saw love that machines cannot measure, and that made me question my mission. Mira placed her hand over the patch. But what will the Corps think? They might erase you for breaking their rules. Rel smiled sadly. Maybe, but I will not regret choosing. To help. Suddenly, a soft sound echoed from the tunnel's entrance, a low mechanical whir. Mira's heart jumped. They found us, Rel said. Mira stood quickly, clutching Nilo's bag tightly. Rel pulled a small device from his coat, a thin band that wrapped around his wrist. He pressed a button, and a faint map appeared in the air, glowing blue. We don't have much time, he said. Unit 94 is close. We must move deeper. Mira followed him down the narrow passageways. The walls were cold, covered in rust and dust. But with each step, Mira felt a strange hope. As they moved, Rel spoke again. Your kind faces many dangers. Wars, sickness, and sometimes your own fears. But it is your spirit that is most powerful. Mira looked up, surprised. Spirit? Yes, Rel smiled. Even when everything seems lost, you continue. You show kindness in dark places. That makes you unique. Mira's eyes filled with tears. I never thought an alien would say that. Rel laughed softly. I am not just an alien. I am learning to understand humans. They reached a wide chamber where old pipes hummed with water. Flow. Rel stopped and turned to Mira. I want to show you something, he said. From his coat, he took out a small, clear cube. Inside, tiny lights floated like stars. He held it between them. This is a hologram of the Corps' council, he explained. They are many worlds, many beings. They make decisions about life and death for millions. Mira stared at the swirling lights. And they want to erase Earth? Some do. Others are unsure. They debate if humans are worth saving or if Earth is better left alone. Mira's voice shook. But why? We have so much life, so much hope, Rel nodded. They only see data conflict, pollution, and weakness. They do not see what you feel. Mira thought about her life, her struggles, her love for Nilo, her hope for the future. I want to show them, she said firmly. That we are worth more than their data, Rel smiled. That is why I helped you. Your story is part of the proof. Suddenly, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed again. Unit 94 was close. We have to prepare, Rel said. This fight will show more than just our strength. It will show our heart. Mira took a deep breath. She was afraid but ready. For her son, for her world. For the hope that lives in every human soul. The heavy footsteps echoed louder through the narrow tunnel. Mira tightened her grip on Nilo's small blanket. Her heart was beating fast, but her face showed no fear. Rel stood beside her, ready. His eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. He was calm, but Mira could see a hint of worry deep inside. The metal door at the far end of the tunnel creaked open. Unit 94 stepped inside. Its red eyes scanned the room slowly, locking onto Rel immediately. Its arms shifted, ready to strike. Mira took a step forward. Wait, she said, her voice steady but loud enough to carry. Unit-94. Pause. Mira moved in front of Rel, standing tall. Please don't hurt him, she said. He saved my son. The machine's eyes blinked once. Then it spoke in a cold, mechanical voice. Subject interference is unauthorized. Erasure protocol is active. No, Mira said, shaking her head. He didn't interfere for himself. He helped because of kindness, because he saw a mother's love. Unit 94's head tilted slightly, as if trying to understand. Mira took a deep breath and stepped closer to the machine. My son is sick. I had no money. I asked for help, that's all. It was a small act maybe you wouldn't understand. The machine remained silent. Mira's voice grew stronger. But it means everything to me. To every parent who loves their child. You judge. US by logic and rules. But what about feelings? Hope? Courage? A quiet pause filled the tunnel. Even Rel looked surprised at her words. Unit 94's red eyes dimmed, and its voice softened, almost like a human whisper. Emotions, inefficient. Mira smiled sadly. Maybe, but they are what make us human. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, worn pendant. It was the only thing left from Nilo's father. I stand here not just for Rel, she said, but for all of us who fight every day without weapons, just hope. Unit 94 lowered its arm. For a long moment, nothing moved. Then, slowly, the machine stepped back. Protocol altered. Re-evaluation initiated. Rel let out a breath he hadn't known he was holding. Mira looked at him. What does that mean? Rel smiled. It means your words made it pause. Machines like Unit 94 follow orders, but sometimes even they can learn. The red lights in the machine's eyes changed to a soft blue. Mira reached out her hand. The machine hesitated, then carefully touched her palm. For the first time, Mira saw a flicker of something beyond the metal, almost like respect. Rel nodded toward the exit. We must leave before others arrive. Together, they moved out. Of the tunnel, the city was waking up. The sun painted the sky with colors Mira hadn't noticed in a long time. She looked at Rel. Why did you believe in me? Because you are more than your world's struggles, Rel said. You are proof that humanity's heart is stronger than any weapon. Mira smiled. For the first time in a long time, hope felt real, as she knew this was only the beginning. Morning sunlight touched the rooftops of the city as Mira stepped out of the hospital. The night had been long, but the doctor said Nilo would be fine. He was resting now, sleeping peacefully in the children's ward. Mira had no money left and no place to stay, but her heart was calm for the first time in days. She sat on a bench outside the hospital gate, rubbing her tired eyes. Her thoughts went again to Rel. Who was he really? Why did he choose to help her, a stranger? She looked up and gasped. Rel stood across the street, leaning against a lamppost. His long coat moved gently in the wind. For a second, Mira wondered if she was dreaming. He nodded once. Mira stood and crossed the street to him. You came back, she said softly. I said I would. You said your people sent you to watch us? Rel nodded. Yes, I was sent to Earth by a group called the Corps. They are not a government, not a military. They are something older. They study worlds, decide if they're safe, decide if they should be left alone or used. Mira's heart skipped a beat. Used? What does that mean? Rel looked at her. His glowing eyes were calm, but serious. If the Corps sees a planet as weak and chaotic, they consider it a resource. They take water, minerals, land. Sometimes, even people. Mira's hands shook slightly. So why not Earth? They're still deciding, Rel said. That's my mission. Observe your kind. See if you're worth saving or forgetting. And what did you see? Mira asked, her voice low. I saw war, pollution, greed. Your world is not perfect. He paused. But then I saw you. Mira blinked. Me? You had nothing, Rel said. But you still fought for your son. You asked for help with honesty, not pride or lies. You showed love when you had no power. My reports were full of numbers before I met you. But now I've written something different. Mira didn't speak. She couldn't. Her throat felt tight. I broke the rules when I helped Nilo. Rel continued. That's dangerous. The Corps will know. They watch me too. Will they punish you? Maybe, Rel said simply. But I don't care. If they erase me, so be it. At least I did something real. Mira looked at him carefully. You're more human than many people I know. Rel almost smiled. I'm learning. Just then, a sudden wind passed down the street. Trash flew in circles. Birds flew off the wires. Mira felt something like a strange pressure in the air. Rel's face changed. They're here, he said. Who? turned sharply. An enforcer. A machine from the core. They send them when a watcher breaks the rules. A tall figure stepped out of a nearby alley. It was not human. Its body was dark silver, with thin limbs and a head shaped like an arrow. Its eyes glowed red. Unit -94. It walked calmly toward them. Not fast, not slow. Its steps made no sound. Mira took a step back. What is that? Rel stepped in front of her. A judge, a cleaner. It erases problems like me. Can it hurt you? Rel nodded once. Yes. The machine stopped 10 steps away. A voice came from it, cold and flat. You disobeyed protocol. You interfered with a native. You risked contamination. Rel stood tall. I saw something worth protecting. Your emotions are faulty. Prepare for removal. Mira grabbed Rel's arm. Run. But Rel didn't move. I can't lead it into the city. It would harm others. I have to stop it here. Mira looked around. People were passing by, but no one saw the machine for what it was. To their eyes, it probably looked like a normal man. Then I'll help, Mira said. No, Rel said firmly. This is not your fight. She stared at him. You helped me. Now let me stand beside you. Rel looked at her, and for the first time, his voice softened more than ever before. Then stay close, and don't let go. As Unit 94 raised its hand, energy crackling from its fingers, Mira stood beside the one being who came to help when no one else would. The fight for Kor. More than one life had just begun.